The title of this presentation is Sustainable Development Goals and Media. Media has significant impact on society, and timely, accurate, relevant information enables people to participate in public life and to claim their rights and to make informed choices about themselves, their environment, and society. Over more than 2.5 decades, we have seen multiple examples of how free media support sustainable development. The role of independent media in achieving the SDGs is crucial, especially Target 16.10. In addition to other SDGs from 1 to 17. The mapping of journalistic work representative of the SDGs aims to provide context that reflects the critical importance of Agenda 2030 and illustrates the overarching transforming role independent media play in achieving sustainable society. In addition to that, in this presentation, we present a full list of SDGs and their associated keywords that can be used to carry out analysis and derive interpretation of themes of journalistic and information sharing work. The SDG Target 16.10 media is an essential component of the SDG. Target 16.10 is about peace, justice, and strong institutions, where they facilitate public access to information. But from SDG 1, no poverty, to SDG 5, gender equality, journalism acts as a driver to change and forms the foundation of a healthy information environment. Media make government more transparent and less corrupt. And each dollar spent in journalistic investigation can yield hundreds or thousands of dollars in benefits to society. Gains are shared by the whole community, who can experience the galvanizing change brought about by reporting, whether it is the start of a citizen-led protest, the enactment of a new law, or the dismissal of an incompetent official. Because of what I said, we start with SDG 16. The title is Peace, Justice, and Strong Institution, and for each of the SDG discussed, we are going to read a quote. This time the quote comes from Antonio Guterres, the UN Secretary General. He says, "Throughout the world, a free press is essential for peace, justice, and sustainable development and human rights. No society can be free and fair without journalists. The fourth estate, the availability of information from diverse resources, is fundamental to the achievement of SDG 16, which means to promote peaceful and inclusive society." The Edmund Burke described the media as the fourth estate. They have been regarded as a watchdog that ensures the rule of law and provides a system of checks and balances on power on behalf of citizens. I made these two slides to explain more about the fourth estate. The four estates refer to a political and social structure often associated with the pre-revolutionary France. The first three states were the clergy, the nobility, and the commoners. The fourth estate is commonly used to refer to the press or media, recognizing its influence and power in shaping public opinion. I added this slide for the breakdown, where first state is a clergy who prayed and provided religious leadership. Second state, the nobility, those who fought and held positions of power and influence. Third state, the commoners, including peasants, merchants, and non-noble members of society. And the fourth state, the press and media, recognized for its ability to monitor and influence the other three states, including governments and other institutions. Target 10, because each SDG has goal, and the goals have targets, and the targets have indicators. Target 10 envisages public access to information and protection of fundamental freedoms. Once the primary functions of media in a democratic society is to inform its citizens, with a large body of research showing the positive impact of news media exposure on political knowledge and participation. Media also safeguard human rights. For each of the SDGs, in the context of SDG and media, we provide an example from a certain part in the world. This particular example is in Montenegro. National station TV Vijesti broadcast a video showing footage of two officials asking for and accepting bribes. The inspectors from the Ministry of Sustainable Development and Tourism are heard demanding a kickback of 5,000 euro from a businessman who wants to construct a building in the town of Budva without a valid permit. Having failed to clamp down on corruption, the Minister of Sustainable Development and Tourism resigned after the video was released, the first case of Montenegrin minister resigning due to corruption in a state institution. Soon after, the two inspectors were arrested and a procedure against them was initiated. The second discussion of SDGs and media has to do with no poverty and no hunger. And here we are quoting from Amartya Sen, the Nobel Prize laureate in economics. He said, in the terrible history of famines in the world, no substantial famine has ever occurred in any independent and democratic country with a relatively free press. Here, free media and poverty levels. A free press is associated with lower poverty levels, and journalists promote information for climate-smart agriculture practices ranging from food security and distribution to weather patterns, floods, and droughts. The example is from India this time. Digital company Gram Vani documented the stories of the vulnerable groups who faced challenges in accessing COVID relief. Its Not Status Quo campaign captured many such issues via 7,000 voice reports submitted through its mobile Vani voice-based community platform and promoted wider concern. For example, in Tamil Nadu, Gram Vani was engaged in an active campaign to resume free meals for children in the midday meal scheme. After disruptions in child health and nutrition services were reported through the mobile Vani, many of the affected children started receiving their rations again. A quote says, "I recorded the issue related to non-availability of midday meals on mobile Vani, and after 3 to 4 days, the ration got distributed to all children of my village." This quote is one of the persons who used this media tool. SDG 3 and SDG 6. 3 has to do with good health and well-being and 6 has to do with clean water and sanitation, and this time we are quoting two persons. The first says COVID-19 pandemic has shown more than ever the essential role of journalists to inform citizens to make our democracies work. The other quote, at a time when we are mired in worry and uncertainty because of the coronavirus disease pandemic, free information is essential to helping us face, understand, think about, and overcome this crisis. Media and COVID-19. Media has played a key role in coronavirus disease tracking, spreading awareness about preventive behaviors, and tackling infodemics and misinformation. Also, media play a crucial role in promoting behavioral changes in their audience. The example this time comes from Poland, where daily Gazeta Wyborcza uncovered evidence of insider dealing in the procurement of personal protective equipment, PPE. It reported that at the beginning of the coronavirus pandemic, the health minister bought masks from a skiing instructor who was friends with his brother and who had no previous experience selling medical equipment. The ministry ended up paying 8 times the retail price for equipment that turned out to be defective and didn't meet safety standards. Both the minister and deputy minister resigned, though without admitting that it was a relation to the case. The prosecutor's office in Warsaw opened an investigation into mismanagement of public funds, but then decided to discontinue it, sparking outrage among opposition politicians who accused them of covering up a crime for political ends. SDG 4, quality education. Now the quote comes from Kofi Annan, the former UN Secretary General. He says that knowledge is power. Information is liberating. Education is the premise of progress in every society, in every family, because an educated electorate is a powerful electorate, because an informed citizenry is the greatest defender of freedom, because of an enlightened government is a democratizing government. Media and education. Educational media programs supplement classroom education, and there is a relationship between access to media and literacy rates among children. The example comes from Peru. A rector of one of the oldest private universities was suspected of plagiarizing the work of third parties as well as using the same work to obtain multiple academic titles. Regional outlet El Buho scrutinized the rector for fraud and published evidence of plagiarism. A lecturer who denounced the wrongdoing and revealed the evidence to journalists was dismissed from the university. A blatant move to sweep the issue under the carpet. To eliminate the evidence of what was denounced, the rector allegedly also withdrew the copies of theses he plagiarized from the university library and the virtual search system. The case was referred to the prosecutor's office. Here we move to Goal 5 and Goal 10 regarding gender equality and reduced inequalities. We can quote Antony Blinken saying, "A free press is one of the most effective tools that you have for advancing human rights, whether it's documenting unjust working conditions, corrupt or failing public services, discrimination against women and marginalized groups, abuse of security forces. Accurate reporting shines a bright light on the parts of our societies that need fixing, that need to be illuminated." Another quote saying the media are centrally placed to shape society's perceptions, ideas, attitudes, and behavior. They should reflect the reality of women and men in all their diversity. The media can either hinder or hasten structural change towards gender equality. Media in modern society hold an immense potential for social change. Media and women empowerment. There is a positive relationship between press freedom and women's empowerment, and a high level of female news subjects is associated with low levels of corruption and a high level of democracy. The example comes from South Africa. An investigation by print and online outlet Mail and Guardian showed systemic discrimination faced by female staff at the African Union Commission AUC, an intergovernmental body designed to spearhead Africa's development and integration. Following Mail and Guardian's exclusive expose, the AUC invited all staff members who had cases of complaint to come forward for a confidential interview. This internal investigation confirmed the staggering prevalence of sexual harassment and systemic gender discrimination within the organization. To ensure a workplace environment free of discrimination, the AUC undertook steps to rewrite and reinforce its anti-harassment policies and procedures. We move now to SDG 8 and 9. Their short titles are Decent Work and Economic Growth and Industry Innovation and Infrastructure. We have two quotes. The first talk is free and independent media can expose corruption in government and the corporate sector, provide a voice for citizens to be heard, help build public consensus to bring about change, and enable markets to work better by providing reliable economic information. The second quote says media help markets work better, from small-scale vegetable trading in Indonesia to global foreign currency and capital markets in London and New York. They can facilitate trade, transmitting ideas and innovation across boundaries. Media and the economic activities. Media can expose malfeasance and financial scandals and promote accountability in the public and corporate sector and curb corruption. Media improve governance and government effectiveness and provide reliable information, encouraging commerce and economic activity. And because malfeasance may not be a known word, I prepared this definition saying that malfeasance is intentional conduct that is wrongful and unlawful, especially by officials or public employees. There aren't common acronyms, especially for malfeasance, beyond some general risk management or fraud-related acronyms. However, malfeasance itself is a legal term that can be associated with acronyms related to areas where it's often found, like financial fraud, insider trading, and cybersecurity. The example comes from Malaysia this time. Digital Output Malaysia Kini investigated the abuse and labor exploitation of migrant workers, tracking their journey from their original homes to ultimate destinations and investigating the money trail that led to those involved. Just 2 days after publication of the articles that exposed slave-like conditions faced by workers at the factory in Klang, Malaysia, a joint operation was conducted by the police, immigration officers, and the labor department, leading to the rescue of the workers. Charges were brought against the factory owner, there was also a crackdown on the main supply chain companies involved in recruiting and sending the workers to Malaysia. Here we have a combination of five SDGs: 7, affordable and clean energy; 11, sustainable cities and communities; 12, responsible consumption and production; 13, climate change; and 14, life below water. And also SDG 15, they are 6, not 5, life on land. We have two quotes. The one said, "At the hour of the climate emergency, this is a journalistic emergency. Environmental coverage is now vital." The other quote made by UNESCO, "For people to seize the opportunity and reduce the risks, everyone will need to know more about climate change. The way the media covers it will affect how well societies deal with the problem. Three of the media's traditional roles, informing audiences, acting as watchdogs, and campaigning on social issues, are especially relevant." Media and climate. Media affect environmental attitudes and behaviors, from plastic avoidance to waste recycling, and media drive the transformative shifts necessary to avoid catastrophic man-made climate effects. An example is from Guatemala about climate change. National newspaper El Periódico revealed a major fraud and corruption scheme related to the cleanup of pollution at Lake Amatitlan. When in office, Vice President Roxana Valdetti awarded a contract worth millions of dollars to an engineering firm to decontaminate the lake. El Periódico published an article revealing the terms of the contract that had been kept secret and showed that the company would use a cleaning chemical, a solution of water, salt, and chlorine, that was ineffective. The vice president was put on trial on fraud and influence peddling charges. A court sentenced her to 15 years and 6 months to jail for her role in what became known as the magic water scandal. Therefore, this example is not about climate change as expected, it's about pollution prevention. Number 17, which is the last SDG, the title is Partnerships for the Goals, and the Norwegian Nobel Committee is the owner of this quote. Without freedom of expression and freedom of press, it will be difficult to successfully promote fraternity between nations, disarmament, and a better world order to succeed in our time. Here we talk about media and national commitments. For SDGs, there are some national commitments that has to be supervised by somebody. Therefore, media, working alongside other stakeholders, support the achievement of the development activities and objectives. In particular, they can act as instrument to increase public awareness on the SDGs. The example for SDG impact is coming from Chile. VNews, a change of local news websites, organized an online community event focused on the environmental situation of the Arica region in cooperation with the local municipality and the environmental initiative It's Now. The conservation gathered regional experts who discussed local social environmental concerns and triggered important commitments from the regional administration. It also laid the ground for the creation of a local environmental consortium, which soon organized reforestation action that involved 100 volunteers, planting native trees close to a local river. In his speech at the planting site, The mayor of Arica personally thanked Mivos for promoting the process, and because I am from Africa and Arica is close to Africa, I made this slide to show that the Africa region in Chile refers to the area where significant portion of the Afro-Chilean population resides, primarily in the northern region, as you can see by the red circle, specifically the Arica Parinacota region. Arica, the capital of Arica Parinacota region, is home to a large percentage of the region's population, including many Afro-Chileans. Here, the second part of the presentation is about associated keywords with SDGs. This part of the presentation is important because even the title of the goal and the short title does not tell us the whole story about the SDG, in addition to the interlinkages between the 17 SDGs. Therefore, in the coming slides, we are going to show you the associated keywords that can be used to carry out analysis and derive interpretation of themes for journalistic and information sharing work. It's important to note that in many instances, a specific example can have relevancy to more than one SDG theme, reflecting the cross-cutting nature of today's overarching issues and challenges. The way I am going to handle this, I am going to just enlarge the part for SDG 1. I am going to read part of the keywords like developing countries, disaster risk reduction, economic development. For SDG 2, zero hunger, agricultural markets, agriculture, anemia, food access and food price. And for SDG 3, good health and well-being, we have epidemics, hazardous chemicals, health promotion, health workforce. Of course, researchers and journalists have to look in more detail about these keywords. It could be an eye-opener and also titles for subjects they can handle. We go now to SDG 4 about quality education. Keywords are early childhood development, education funding, educational opportunity, job creation. For SDG 5, gender equality, we have abortion rights, contraception, diversity and equal opportunity, female genital mutilation. And for number 6, clean water and sanitation, we have clean water, dehydration, dumping, hazardous material, hydration and hygiene. Now we move to number 7. Number 7 is affordable and clean energy. We have keywords clean energy, carbon tariffs, electricity access, energy efficiency, emissions, fossil fuels. And for decent work and economic growth, number 8, we have economic growth, economic inclusion, economic productivity, employment policy and enterprises. For number 9, which industry, innovation and infrastructure, we have enterprise development, global supply chain infrastructure. Then we move to number 10, which is reduced inequality. The keywords are developing countries, discrimination, disparities, equal opportunities, inclusion. And for sustainable cities and communities, we have city planning, housing, infrastructure, public services, smart living. For number 12, responsible consumption and production, we have chemicals, consumption, food waste, natural resources, production, and resource efficiency. For climate change, number 13, we have atmosphere, global warming, green living, environmental policy and environmental agreements. And for life below water, we have fishing, islands, marine pollution and marine biodiversity. And for number 15, life on land, we have conservation, deforestation, drought, ecology and ecosystems. The last two SDGs are number 16 and 17. 17 is peace, justice and strong institution. We have accountability, corruption, crime, governance and enforcement. And for number 17, the last one, partnership for the goals, we have cooperation, coordination, development assistance and national strategies. My concluding remarks slide shows that this presentation is about the importance of media for supporting SDGs. The first part is a collection of anecdotes on one or more SDGs by renowned persons, followed by a short discussion and two examples of media impact. I choose only one. The second part is on themes on journalistic work related to each of the 17 SDGs, and I have chosen some of the keywords related to each of the 17 SDGs. The content is of value for scientific journalists and researchers.